Hello, and
Hello.
welcome to episode 3 of the Arts and Minds Collective podcast. I almost just kind of forgot what our show was called
What?
just now.
Already?
Yeah, my
You want
brain
to, is it
just
too long? Are we changing the name?
the Arts and Minds Collective podcast. It's episode 3, part 2 of What is Mental Health, addressing the rumors. And today we're going to talk about therapy. What is therapy? We're going to try to answer that question as
We're going to
best
try.
as we can.
As
Yeah.
two people that were thrown to the wolves, I think pretty much, right? I can't remember if we established that of like that you and I both started around like COVID times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So as two
Yeah.
therapists like thrown into potentially one of the worst mental health times in the world.
What is therapy? What it looked like in school is not what I do now. It's been fascinating and so cool to teach interns this past
Mhm.
year and be like, guys, everything you've learned,
Throw it out the
don't,
window.
yeah, don't worry about it as hard as you think.
Yeah.
You should. It's
I
not it's serious, but it's not that serious. It's gonna be okay.
It's
Um
a conversation, like, kind of like this, right? I think sometimes therapy
mhm,
feels like it's, like, more of a back and forth, and maybe that's because, like, I'm a professional yapper, so, like well, here's my first question for you, Christine. The
mhm.
the silence, the, like, letting people sit in silence, where do you fall in that category?
It depends on the client.
Mhm. Good answer.
Some yeah. Some clients, like, it's not a good intervention, and others, it's an amazing intervention because they do need that silence, that time to, like you can see it, they're processing, and, like, it can be really hard to, um, sit there in silence because what is probably only 30 seconds of silence, like, when you first start doing this, feels like an eternity. Um And yeah, the, like, push to, like, fill in the space, and, like, really know when to just hang back and sit there and, like, trust that your client is going to say something
Mhm. Yep.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think
it's a
that
big
was
one.
it's a big one. I think that was the first
Mhm.
note from, like, being in grad school. I wasn't gonna do this, but shout out Dr. Kennerly. I'm gonna reduce my amount of shout outs that I do. Um, but he was the
Shout out
one
1,
shout
everyone
out
take a
number
shot.
1. Yeah, take a shot
Yeah.
every time. You're gonna be done. You're gonna be
Yeah.
done by the time this these episodes are
Take a
done.
shot every time we shout something out.
Yep. Yeah, if you get
Yeah.
alcohol poisoning, we're not legally liable. Um, but he was kind of like the first one that was like, "Mackenzie, you have to take a breath. Like, you have to, like, let people kinda sit in it."
Mhm.
And one of the things that, like, he helped me identify too is, like, I don't like to sit in it. Like, if I'm in therapy and my therapist says it to me, I'm like, "No, keep talking. Like,
Yeah.
help me." Right?
Help me, help
So,
me. Don't
yeah.
make me sit here in silence,
Yeah. I'm already
alone
alone
with
with my
my
thoughts.
thoughts. Yeah. But you're not alone with your thoughts. Your therapist is sitting there with you alone in your thoughts.
That's right.
Um, yeah. But and the other one is the, reflective mirror.
Oh,
The,
yes.
like,
Yep.
reflective mirror, the blank, not having, uh which, like, yeah, in my, grad school is very, like, psychodynamic and psychoanalytic, and so, like, at least for, like, a base, which I get, but we'll go into that in a minute, but, the reflective mirror of, like, sometimes people gotta see that you're a person.
That's true, right? And I think, like
Yeah, like and plus I can't control what my face looks like
yeah.
most of the time,
Oh
so
my god.
yeah.
That's okay, maybe that's number 1 is the, like, remain neutral, like, for the people that are watching this on video, they basically teach you to do this a lot. It's a lot of just like, "Oh, okay, mhm."
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
okay, let's role play. Christine, tell me something off the wall, and I'm your therapist.
Man, should I I have stories that I
Yes,
could pull from.
and my probably a genuine reaction from me.
Yeah. Um, okay, I'm your client, and I come to you and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, listen to this crazy thing that happened to me this weekend." So I went out on a you've heard this one,
Mhm,
FYI. But I
mhm.
went out on a date with this guy and, it was whatever, and then, we went into a bar and we got drunk, even though I wasn't, like, enjoying the date. Instead of leaving, I just did that, and then I went back to his house for whatever reason,
Okay.
and he took me into his room and brought out a gun and showed
Hold
me
on.
his grandfather's Ku Klux Klan gun.
There's more? Okay. Um,
Yeah.
again,
Imagine, yeah, again,
how
having a straight face. I can't even tell that story with a straight face, um,
yeah, how
and
do you
you're like,
remain
you're supposed to just be
neutral?
like,
Oh. And how
"Yeah,
in that
no."
moment, like, what did you feel in your body?
What
What
did you
was
feel in your body? No, you're over there going like, "Oh my
my
god,
god.
he did what?"
You went number
No.
1, you went to a second location. I've already told you, don't go to a second location. We've talked about this.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
There's no control, like, which, like, again, like, I don't know, and again, we'll get into the, like, nuances of the types of therapy out there. As a like, Foley, I think, like, my number 1, modality that I use is person-centered,
Mhm.
client-centered, you know? You gotta be not like, you have to be a person.
Yeah.
You have to show you're a human being. Um, like, otherwise, it's just yeah, I'm just sitting there like, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
that's
wow.
crazy."
Do you think
And,
that's
like
why, like, why Freud had people doing free association so that, like, yes, he's jotting notes down, but at the same time, he's, like, making faces and they just can't see because 'cause they're looking at the ceiling?
yeah, they're looking at the ceiling. They're laying on the couch looking at the ceiling, and he's, like, over here, right?
Like,
Like, because
"Oh
he's,
my."
like, even, like, behind them, if I remember correctly. He would,
Yeah.
like, lay them out on the couch, and, like, so if this is the couch and your head is here, you'd be, like, over here,
Yeah.
like, "You
Yep.
can't see me."
And honestly, I
Yeah.
did that once, like, I think I've had one session where it was just like, obviously sometimes people come to therapy, like, after work, you're exhausted, and I've had, like, various people say, like, "You know what? I'm just gonna put my feet up, I'm gonna relax, that's what my space is for." Um, and it was, like, one of the deepest sessions we had of just, like, staring up at the ceiling, and,
Mhm,
well, Christine and I hate when there's, like, a Freudism that might be correct, but there's, like, something to, like, free association of, like, not making eye contact, shout out
mm.
neurodivergence, um, things like that where it's just, like, again, this is an anti-Freud podcast, so that's the only thing I'm bringing up.
We don't like Freud here. But yeah, so and then, disclosure. So it's always
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
what did we say the first one was?
The neutral
Therapy?
face, the
Yeah, the blank reflective mirror, the
mhm.
thing that we said before that, and that I can't remember now, that we're supposed to do, but we don't.
Oh, just the, I guess, like, non-expressive, like, where you're not supposed to react, you're not supposed to,
Yeah, 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 that's the reflective mirror.
oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, I know, we said a thing.
Okay. Well,
Welcome
good
to a neurodivergent
yeah, what,
podcast,
dude?
everybody, where we say things and then immediately forget what we said. Write in the
Write
comments
in the
what it
comments.
was, the first thing that we said you're supposed to do as a therapist, and then we don't.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
but the third thing I was gonna say is disclosure.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
supposed to disclose. No
Yeah.
disclosure whatsoever. Uh, and if you do choose to disclose, you're supposed to, like, really think about it and be like,
Yeah.
"Why am I doing this? Is this actually gonna be helpful?" All the
It was
things. Did you
silence,
remember?
by the way. It was
Silence.
silence.
That's why we couldn't remember it because we don't do that.
'Cause we don't do that part. They were like, "Do this more," and I'm like, "No."
No. Um,
Same with self-disclosure. I feel like I was told, like, "Don't." I
yeah,
think
don't.
oh, don't, and I think one of the I'll just use, like, a, off the dome example. If a client's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, Mackenzie, what's your favorite band?" And then you're supposed to answer like, "Well, what does that question mean to you? Like, what would my
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
mean?"
You're you're wondering what kind of music I would like, and
Mhm.
if maybe I like the same music as you.
Yeah. What
Like,
is it?
you're
Asking that
wondering if we have
question.
something in common, and it's
Yeah.
like, just answer the q "I like this band." Just answer the question because, like, be a human being.
Exactly. Hey, brand
Yeah.
new therapists that are potentially listening, like, it's okay to, like, answer those questions, like, you're not gonna
Yeah,
get in trouble.
just be a human being.
Yeah.
Especially if you're talking to a teenager or a kid,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Mhm.
they wanna know what your favorite movie is or, like, "Hey, did you see this movie?" or whatever. Just answer the question. Like, don't be like, "Oh, you're wanting to know if I kn" like, they're a child. They wanna see if, like, again, you're a person that they can, like, trust, and
Mhm.
are you this, like, weird authority figure, or, like, are we kind of cool and, like, the same, right? And it's like, well,
Exactly.
yeah, I am a weird authority figure, and I can make myself seem less removed from this relationship if I just answer the question on whether or not I have seen the Mario movie.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Yeah.
the, like, whole I think on top of that, it was, like, never comment on, like, you know, let's say, like, a client dyed their hair purple and, they sign on a call, be like, "Oh my gosh, your hair's so cool." I feel like the people that I learned from would have been like, "Don't say anything about that. Like, why would you point that
Wait,
out?"
what?
I don't see, that's one thing that I, like, never got over, where I'm just like, why wouldn't you wanna otherwise it's just like a semi elephant in the room of like,
Yeah,
"Oh, maybe Mackenzie will like my hair." Maybe like, it's not validation, it's just me being like, "Hey, that's some cool hair."
right. Right. Which, like, brings, like, to one of the questions that I have, like, what is therapy? Is it just validation?
Mm, no,
Is it
not
just someone
always.
sitting here being like, "Yes, yes, yes, you're right. Yes, yes, everyone else. Yes, yes."
Mhm,
Like, not always. No. I think it's a for me it's always a balance between, like, when do I validate somebody's experience and feelings, and when do I challenge them
mhm. Yep, and asking
on.
those, like, harder questions, right, of like, "Well, how could we have done this differently? How do we
Mhm.
show up, like, in this situation next time?" But of course, like, well, Christine and I are, neurodiversity affirming therapists. So, like, there is going to
Mhm.
be, like, I guess, like, maybe that's a better word. Like, there's affirming and then there's, like, validation, right? You don't need to constantly, like, be reassuring people and, vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and then it's like, is it just venting or gossiping? Like, which sometimes a little bit, yes.
Hmm.
Like, I do love when a client comes to me and be like, "You have to hear this tea," and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Spill it, please." Like, I'm so excited. But then we get into, like, the processing part of, like, you know, um
Going through the incident,
yeah.
sometimes it's just like really good tea. If we can start off
Yeah.
session like 5-ish minutes of like just going through some like BS that happened, cool. Awesome.
Yep, yep. But then it's like, "Okay, the BS happened. How are we handling? How did that affect us? How are we working with it?
Mhm.
Um, what are some choices we can make next time, to help, what's in our control, what's not in our control, all those things."
Mhm.
Um, and then lastly, I think, this is a question that I wanted to pose to the audience. And so, yes, also write in the comments,
Tell
your
us.
answer to this. Yes, tell us. What do you guys think, y'all make what am I trying to say?
Run
What
it back.
do y'all think makes someone a good therapist versus a bad therapist? Because it is interesting with social media nowadays
Mhm.
and people writing horror stories about some of these therapists out there that I read, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Mhm.
And then I'm like, "Am I doing this?" Like, I start to freak out, and I'm like, "Okay, if I'm questioning if I'm doing these things, I'm probably 1, not, and
Not.
2, I have the awareness to, like, not be doing those things." Um, but yeah, what makes someone a good therapist and what makes someone a bad therapist? Because there's definitely good therapists out there and there's definitely bad therapists out there. And we'd love to, like, hear what you guys think that is.
I
Um,
like this
yeah.
question. I think like I'm trying to even think about like like, I've had a quote unquote, like, bad therapist before, and I think the bad part was just, like, I didn't feel super, I don't even wanna say validated. Maybe it was just,
Mm,
like, maybe the right questions weren't being asked, and
mhm.
that's where and I even tell clients this when they're first starting with me, if I'm not a good fit, I would rather you, you know, look for a different therapist or at least like tell me what you're looking for in therapy. But at the end of the day, if you have to go somewhere else, like you're not hurting my feelings. This is about you. This is not about Mackenzie, the therapist. This is about you getting the help that you need. Right.
Right. Yeah, because I that also, like, I made it makes me think of, like, there can be a good therapist for one person, and that same therapist would be, quote, "a bad therapist" for another person,
Totally.
right? Like, it is just about the right fit, and, like, the way I describe it, and it's not a good way of describing it, is, like, it's truly, like, vibes based.
Yeah. No, for real.
Are are we gonna vibe?
Are we
Like,
vibing?
yeah. Are we vibing? Like, this feels like it's gonna be a good fit just because, like, the vibes are right, and you're like, "Well, what makes the vibes right?" And I cannot tell you
Yeah,
that at
because
all.
we could be, like,
Um
from totally different, like, backgrounds and experiences, but as long as, like and I think that's why we have such specific, like, theoretical orientations too, right? Like, if
Mhm,
someone's
mhm.
coming to you for, like, neurodiversity affirming art therapy specifically, like, obviously you're gonna mesh well, but then there's, like, the additional level of, like, personality fits,
Yeah, yeah.
and it might take
It's
time
gotta
to
be
get
like
there
a
too.
it definitely is a bit of like there's a personality fit too, like, um and I've had clients where, like, the either the personality wasn't quite right, or they weren't ready for therapy, or they didn't like my approach. I tried to accept their feedback and fix my approach, and it still wasn't enough, and it's just like, okay, well, then I'm just like not the right therapist for this person, right?
Totally.
um which doesn't mean I'm a bad therapist, and it
Mhm.
doesn't mean yeah, but also there's also just bad therapists out there.
Yeah. What's a
Yeah, some of
bad
the stories,
Bad therapist. Do you have I was gonna say ask if you have, like, a story.
not for me personally, but I've had clients tell me stories where I'm like, oh my god, like, the ethics of it all.
Yeah. There was one on I think it was on Threads a couple weeks ago. This
Mhm.
one girl posting about I think it was, like, a Friday or a Saturday night, and she got like, a text from her therapist at, like, 2 o'clock in the morning that, like, said, like, "I'm not coming home." Like, it was this big, long text, clearly, like, drunken text, and she said she had therapy like
The
that. The
therapist.
therapist texted this. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I
Okay.
think isn't that I'll have to, like, find it and I can, like, link it, but the long story short was, like, the girl who posted it, the client, she followed up, I think, that Tuesday when she had a session, and the therapist, like, apologized profusely and I think had said, like, "Yes, like, I went out, I got my, like, phone numbers mixed up. By the way, like, we have obviously different phone numbers. Wild if you are saving your client's number in, like, your personal phone, so that's a whole separate issue." But
I don't even really have my client's number saved even in our, like, Google Voice,
right.
and if I do, I
Yes,
just have initials. Um,
because 'cause I'm just so afraid, like, if I lose my phone, like, I don't need any sort of, like, HIPAA issue coming up. But something like this is like, oh my god,
yeah.
even on top of that, like, if you're a therapist out partying and then you're, like, texting your clients, like, maybe that's a bad therapist. Yeah,
I don't text any of my clients
under any sort of
after, like,
influence.
10:30 unless
Yeah,
unless they have texted me, in which
that's
case then I text them. But, like, I'm not being like, "Hey,"
"Hey,
at
you wanna
11
meet
o'clock
me?
at night.
Yeah, I'm downtown."
"Night, night, see you tomorrow."
Yeah. You're texting like, "Good
Um
morning, sunshine."
I'll see you in just a couple hours.
Just a
No.
couple hour yeah. If you have a
Well,
therapist
that's
like that
I've definitely done not like Good Morning Sunshine, but I've definitely been like, "Hey, we meeting today?"
yes, much more
Just a reminder,
appropriate.
we're meeting today.
Yeah. "Hey,
Yeah.
bestie."
Hey, we're on the schedule for tomorrow. I just want to make sure we're still good.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
that's
uh,
appropriate.
yeah, yeah. Um, alrighty. Yeah. So therapy, it's like therapy is this, like, I don't know. It's such a big word, and it, like, all encompassing for all these things, right? Like, we've talked about, like, oh, like, what therapists are to do and not to do in therapy. We've talked about, like, what makes a good therapist and a bad therapist. Like, it's just is it just validation? Is it just gossiping? But like there's also the fact that like therapy is um like a medical treatment. And like I wanted to talk about like the fact that we do therapy under a medical model. Um and what that means, right? Because there's different sorts of I'm trying to think of how to explain this and maybe you can explain this too. Like there's different models of how we approach these
I wanna say
things, these
cases.
issues.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I just mean like mental health in general, right?
Yes.
So like um there's the medical model, there's like a social model, right? Like we look at like where we can best get resources and provide support or help to somebody. And like right now, what we use is like 100% a medical model where we have to come up with diagnoses, we have treatment plans, we use evidence based practices, insurance is involved. Um, and like there's pros to having a medical model and there's cons to being in a medical model. And I honestly am over here like we should be in a social model or like we should figure out how to marry
Marry
both
the
the
2.
medical and social model because a social model looks at like society and it's like okay where are people lacking things, right? Like looks at culture and diversity and resources and it's like okay well we have say homeless people. The majority of homeless people actually have mental health issues. They are, it's not that like they either are addicts, but like they're probably addicts because they have untreated mental health issues and now they're medicating, right? Like there's a lot of homeless people on the streets who have untreated diagnoses because there's just not the resources and support out there and like within the medical model like oh well you have to have money
That's the
to
thing,
get
right?
treatment.
You need insurance, and then insurance sees a diagnosis, and then, oh, they've already made oh my god, like, Medicaid specifically, where it's just like, well, they've already had, like, 5 sessions, so why aren't they better? And it's things like
Yeah.
that where it's like,
It's like,
"Okay,
well, it takes more than that, but okay.
yeah,
Um,
and now I need to
but like,
prove
yeah,
to you that it
and
takes more
then
than."
like you're not stable. You don't have your physiological needs met with housing,
Mhm.
a roof over your head, consistent meals. How are you supposed to get the help that you need, right? And that's why, like the medical model, I think has failings, and a social model would be better because it wouldn't become um well they have a problem and they need to just like figure it out and all this stuff and like why can't they just be on their meds and get therapy? It's like well it's really hard to do that when you don't have a house and you don't know when your next meal is coming from and you don't have any sort of transportation. And yes there are resources out there but they are limited and they have only just been more limited within the
Yeah,
last year
not to get
and a half.
political, but we're gonna get political. It's
Hi. Counseling, therapy, social work is inherently political.
political. Yep. We're renaming this
Yeah.
podcast to not to get political.
Yeah.
Um, and
Because
I think
otherwise I can't promote any of our content.
right, exactly. The second I bring
Yeah.
up, um, well, the second we bring up RFK Jr. in
I was
general,
gonna say don't name them, because then
yeah.
I definitely can't use this clip in anything. Um,
I'm trying to think of like a code name that, so that, I almost said so that we don't get demonetized as if we have a whole bunch of like, monetization coming
listen,
in.
we're not. I spend money to promote
Yeah.
things.
You guys, we're doing this for the love of the game. Come on.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
essentially, oh my god, Scrooge McDuck,
yeah, well, which one's Scrooge and which one's,
oh,
Voldemort? Yeah.
oh, I
Yeah.
mean, one is like exponentially worse than at least Scrooge McDuck
So
had like a
true.
little bit of like, well, neither of them had any sort of come to Jesus moment, I guess, at that
No,
point.
so we can't use Scrooge McDuck. We're
Yeah,
getting off on a
we're
tangent.
gonna,
But anyways,
essentially they're making it like increasingly harder. I think there's current cuts going on and then even like into October, right? There's like cuts that are coming to like people that have like that are newly immigrated here and are like still awaiting paperwork and now you're getting booted off of Medicaid. Good luck to you. Like basically like good luck finding any sort of resource without without insurance essentially.
Yep. Yep, basically. Because a lot of times those resources there are some out there that are nonprofit and you don't need, it's covered, and a lot of them though, if you need to have payment for it, you're gonna need insurance. Um yeah. So the medical model has pros in the fact that it at least provides, I feel like, a solid framework,
The
like
evidence based like these are the things that we know are that work essentially.
that that when I say work in
Yeah,
quotes, we don't know why it works. We just know that it
it
does.
does.
Uh,
It's fine.
medication and therapy modalities, we don't really know why it works. We just know that it does. We know
Mhm.
that, okay, we take a person and we treat them, we give them no treatment whatsoever and they don't do well. We take a person and we just give them therapy and they do a little bit better. We give a person and we just give them medication and we do a little bit better. We give a person medication and therapy and suddenly they get the best results, right? Like um and like, knowing that we're not just out here, like, therapy is not, we're not just out here in, I mean, the wild, just being like making stuff up as we go. Like,
Mhm.
these modalities, these different treatments that we use, again, yes, are evidence-based practices. People have sat down and studied and applied and seen that, like, okay, there's a body of literature, research that shows cognitive behavioral therapy does indeed improve depression and anxiety symptoms. It improves OCD symptoms, right? Not that you and I use a lot of CBT, but
Not my fave. And
not my fave either.
I think that comes from being like a a neurodiverse therapist and like neurodiversity affirming
Mhm,
because,
mhm.
you know, especially with like CBT, it's that like, um, what a lot of us like to call it's a little bit of like self gaslighting. Um,
Yeah.
the
I'll
like
just
the
change the
reframe,
thought. Oh,
yeah. If you think about it more positively, which if it works for you, awesome,
it
fantastic.
works. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it does. Like, it's evidence based. It
it's
does
evidence
work,
based.
but it doesn't. That's the other thing is there's all these different modalities because it's not just one size fits all. And so, like, and I think, and we're going to get more into diagnoses in the next episode, but I think with diagnoses, diagnosing someone can be really helpful. I was going to say good, but I don't know what to use that word. It can be helpful because it helps you kind of like it's like the first bridge, or like it's like the first like path you take, right, for treatment.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, well, this person is having these symptoms. Okay, how do I treat these symptoms? Okay, well, they're having, it, we need to know what the symptoms are, and diagnoses puts it in a box to be like, okay, the best course of treatment for this particular diagnosis, disorder, whatever we want to call it. So I keep hitting my mic. Um, but and I'm gonna edit it out. I don't know. So no one will know what I'm talking about. Now I'm gonna have to cut this part out. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh,
Diag
it provides a bit of like a roadmap.
Yeah.
Um, which is helpful. And then like you get into like like making a treatment plan. Like literally we're sitting there being like, okay, this person has this diagnosis. We have decided they have this diagnosis because we have looked at the criteria. We have maybe even give them some assessments that again are have been tested over and over again. They are reliable and valid. They will show us like, okay, yes, this person is definitely experiencing depression
Yeah.
because you've given them the
Mhm.
PHQ-9T and they've scored a 25 or whatever, which is really high.
Really, I'm like, "Whoa."
I just threw out
I
a number
mean,
and I was like, "Oh my god, they might need to be hospitalized."
yeah.
They're experiencing very severe depression.
Ooh, and now we're doing
Um,
a safety plan. Got it.
yeah, now we're doing a safety plan.
Yeah.
And then, we sit here and we're like, "Okay, they're experiencing these symptoms. How do we treat these symptoms then?" Okay, well, we're gonna look at the different sort of modalities that we use, which, you know, I put in, like, our notes, and I should just look at this. I put in our notes the different kinds of modalities that, like, you and I use, for the most part, uh,
I think a
because
couple
there's
good words before, not to like fully, well, before we dive in, I think for
Mhm,
anybody who would be listening who's like a client looking for therapists as well, even if you see the phrases like psychodynamic, oh my God, psychodynamic, eclectic, that basically just means that like,
humanistic.
yeah, humanistic, your therapist is doing like what we're talking about. Like we have a bunch of different modalities that we lean on. It's just a matter of like, instead of like Christine and I, you walking into the room and us like, if you walk in and say like, "Oh, I've previously been diagnosed with OCD." Awesome, cool. I already have a diagnosis for you to put on the treatment plan. I'm still looking at the client, right? That's why we say like
Mhm, mhm.
person-centered, client-centered, because we're not, "Oh, well, this traditionally works for OCD, so I don't know why it's not working." Yes, we're going to like pull that type of therapy, but at the same time, I'm looking at, you know, Billy the person so that we could
Right,
understand
right,
more about what's going to work for you.
right, and also Billy's been previously diagnosed with OCD, and since we're using client-centered, person-centered, and we're really looking at the client, the amount of clients that I have where they were diagnosed with OCD, anxiety, or depression, and they're actually now they diagnosed autistic or
Mhm.
ADHD
Yep.
is high because you're like, okay, yeah, I accept that a previous clinician or whoever has diagnosed you with this. But then like as you get to know the person and you're really looking at them as like a person, it's like, okay, yeah, some of these symptoms are like OCD, but like it's not fitting quite like
Not fitting the
it
boxes of
should.
OCD particular,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Um And then it's like you collaborate with, like, the client, and I know that sounds weird, collaborating with the client, but, like, when I am making diagnoses, I never just, like, slap a diagnosis onto somebody without ever talking to them about it and, like, seeing if, like, they agree that that sounds right.
Mhm. Yep. I mean, especially, like, the first thing that comes to mind is, like, personality disorders, right? If that's I mean, that is, like, a huge diagnosis to give somebody, and we
Yes.
are all about, like, decreasing the stigma here too. But
Mhm.
if I think I wanna say, like, the most common one has been, like, let's say females in their, like, late 20s, early 30s, bipolar and borderline. Yeah, exactly, where I'm like, have we done other testing? Would you be
Yeah,
open
have
to
we
doing so?
looked at autism at all?
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
mhm.
it's actually just trauma. Um
Yeah, yeah, the I could
Complex PTSD hasn't been added to the DSM-5 yet, but it hopefully will be sooner than later,
mhm,
because woof, complex PTSD looks a lot like BPD, borderline, and it looks a lot like autism.
autism, yep,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
that's the other thing, which again, we'll get into when we talk about that, but, like, a lot of these diagnoses have a lot of overlap, so
mhm,
it's good for, like, a starting point, and then it's going further, right? Um, and so like, you know, we last episode we pretty much ended with like when we were talking about like the history of psychology and therapy and stuff like in the modern times and which really, you know, we're talking about like the 60s, 70s to 1960, 1970 to now. But I mean therapy was happening before that with like Freud and Jung, the psychodynamic and Jungian.
oh, the archetypes,
Yeah, therapy and stuff like that. Which yes, we are Freud haters here, so we're not going
yeah,
to talk about Freud, but we do love Carl Jung. Um,
that's my boy.
that's my boy,
That's my boy
especially
right
as an art therapist.
Yeah, oh my god,
Yeah.
doing any sort of like, well, this is something, obviously that we can get into too, but like the
Hmm.
how much deeper, so like if Christine says she's an art therapist and I say I'm an existential therapist, we're still going to use like very similar like techniques, and like shadow
Yeah.
work is the first thing that comes to mind for like
Yep.
Jungian therapy, where it's like Christine's going to have a way of doing shadow work. I'm going to have a way of doing shadow work. So it's really
Yep.
cool
And
to
it's just
like, yeah,
and like it's kind of the same and also kind of different because
different.
I'm gonna do shadow work through art and you're gonna do shadow work through well, I don't know because I don't really do a lot of existential therapy other than like let's find meaning in the suffering. But
Yeah.
um which is just like basic existential
That's
therapy.
basic existential. If you wanna go
Yeah.
deeper, I always start with, like, your core values, right? So that I at least know, what we're rocking with in terms of, like,
Oh
what are
yeah,
the
I do
things
do
that you
core
value?
values and
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Um but and also like, if a therapist is like I only do CBT and that's it and nothing else.
yeah. Oh, you're talking about the show Shrinking.
Shout out to Shrinking.
Shout out to
Love
Shrinking.
that show.
So good.
100% what not to do as a therapist, Jimmy.
Yeah, I have never shown
It's
up
like
to anything my client is doing outside of sessions.
or
That's
or
ooh,
dragged them around and introduced them to all of my friends and family,
yeah.
or let them live in my pool house.
Mhm. Yeah, even though it all looks good, sounds good, that's a bad therapist. You are
Yeah, it's a
breaking
bad therapist.
so many boundaries and
So
ethical
many
considerations.
so many ethical issues right there.
Yeah,
Funny though. Funny show,
very
great
funny.
show,
Yes.
touching show.
Yeah.
Very, like, emotionally charged, touches on very important things, but how not to be a therapist 101 is Jimmy in that show. Um, yeah, but, for a long time, it was just this, like, psychodynamic thing where you were on the couch looking at the ceiling, the therapist was behind you. How does, the quintessential, how does that make you feel?
How
Which
does it
that's another thing we're not supposed to really ask.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but, like, I don't know, I ask that sometimes 'cause I'm
I
like,
think
"Okay, but, like, how did it make you feel?"
right, exactly. And
Yeah.
if we have to, like, bust out the feelings wheel, because by the way,
Mhm.
good isn't a feeling. Like, you gotta give me
Mm-mm.
something, "Oh,
I feel fine.
I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling good." No,
Yeah.
we're going
No.
deeper. But
Yeah.
especially I don't know, I have caught myself saying, like, especially if somebody comes in, like, heightened anxiety, like panic, like, "Okay, where do you feel it in your body?" Right?
Mhm.
That's just, like,
Mhm.
basic somatic therapy, but now it's turned into, like, "Oh, where do you feel it in your body?" So
Yeah.
but literally
Yeah.
tell me, like, "Oh, no, like, my stomach is unsettled, like, I can feel it in my
Mhm.
shoulders." Like, that's what I do love about, like, mindfulness and somatic therapy is, like, pushing that to where is it, like, manifesting physically now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think, after psychodynamic was a thing for a while, we kind of started branching off into, like, um, there's Aldarian, which I've never used.
Yeah.
Alder? No. Um, I have my book, I can look at it right now, but,
Did he also do no. I'm trying to think. Maybe group therapy was also created by there's a
well, I don't
big
think it was Yalom, but I don't think it was created by Yalom. I think he's just well, I
he
don't know actually. Maybe it was created by Yalom.
he at least wrote, like, a giant textbook that we had to use in grad school.
First page I turned to, Irvin Yalom.
That's my other boy,
Yeah, yeah, because I'm on
existential.
existential therapy because this book is so it's, like, literally falling apart. Um,
Is it from school?
yeah.
Let me see. Let me have a
So
gander. Oh, yes. Yep. Mhm.
yeah,
Love
theory and
this.
practice of counseling and psychotherapy. It covers maybe, like, 10 top 5 things. Um Yeah. So there's psychoanalytic, which is still practiced today. Like psychodynamic turned into like psychoanalytic, and that's a lot of the like blank slate, the silence, the reflective mirror, the
Mhm.
no disclosure, that sort of thing. And then the next one after psychoanalytic becomes talking about transference,
Oh, mhm. God, we could, like, teach a whole class. There's, like, so much.
which like transference comes up. Transference and so projection, transference, and countertransference comes up in any modality that you're using.
Yes.
But it's important because like psychoanalytic psychodynamic is like, oh, we discovered these things. And so like now
Mhm.
like, oh, every therapist needs to constantly be aware of the projection, the transference and the counter transference that is occurring within the relationship. Um, and so projection is where say like I am feeling nervous about something and um instead of realizing that I'm feeling nervous, I go to Mackenzie and I'm like, "Aren't you just so nervous about
Mm,
about this meeting that we're about to have?" I'm like, "I can tell that you're really nervous."
yep,
And I'm projecting that
projection.
feeling onto Mackenzie.
Mhm.
Um, Transference is where all I can think of is like this funny quote from Game Grumps where um they were like cooking something and Aaron's like, God, you're just like my parents. And like, I get them these nice cookware and they're like, kunk, kunk, kunk all over it. And he's like, Aaron, what you're experiencing is a psychological phenomenon called transference. I'm not your
Transference.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where we like, it's not, it's like goes beyond projection. It's where we like actually assign like traits and things to someone. Um,
Yes. Can I be hella
yeah.
vulnerable? Do you want a story?
Y- would love a story.
When I was in grad school, like our main well, my cohort was very small. It started out as 13 people and then went down to 4 of us. But we had um
Ain't that how it goes?
Ate the
Yep.
way so we had, like, one professor, again, Dr. Kennerly, adore him, but he had, like, very his, like, demeanor was, like, very similar to my dad, where it was, like, he was kind of
Mm,
like a tough
mm-hmm,
nut to crack emotionally, and when we would do, like, role playing where, he was the therapist, I was the client, we would trade off and do things like that during class, and I would get, like, so frustrated during, either role play essentially that I would almost get, like, more emotional and, like, not, like, fully crying, but, like, kind of getting mad, kind of getting teary-eyed, and that was
mm-hmm,
when he started, like, talking about transference, and he was like and he knew, like, about, like, my family history and things like that, and he even called out, like, "I think I'm reminding you of your dad, and I think you're having a hard time, like, breaking through that barrier because you want to impress me like you want your dad to be impressed with, like, what you've accomplished." And I was just
mm-hmm.
like, "Okay." And I had to, like, get up, like, take a lap around, and yeah, I'm like, "Awesome. Okay, thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
I'm never coming back." But
yeah.
I feel like that's a good example of, like, even when you're sitting across from your therapist, like, things like that might
Mhm.
come up where it's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe, like, Christine said something like that." Like, that's something, like, my mom would say, my sister would say, right?
Yeah. Like, one, the most, like, recent thing I experienced with, like, a client, was, like, she's like, "I think, like" she's like, "I feel like we're friends more than, like,
Oh.
therapists," and I was like,
Mhm.
because 'cause we're around the same age, had similar interests, and I was like, "Ah, transference, gosh
Yeah.
dang it.
Mhm.
It's getting in our way of things."
Yeah.
Um,
But when you see somebody, like, weekly and you know each other so and that's the other thing why, like, therapists and clients, like, technically can't be friends and can't date because there's that, like,
mhm.
power dynamic of, "Well, now I know too much about you," or "You look to me for, like, answers and validation," and
Yeah.
things like that.
Which which is again why I like disclosure.
Yeah.
Every
Mhm.
single one of my clients knows about my animals.
Mhm.
They know my husband's name.
Yep.
Um, because it helps level out that like power
Yes.
dynamic.
Yep.
Which maybe that's why like, oh, I feel like we're friends. But like, uh, with while still maintaining like you're my client and I'm your therapist, right? Like we can talk about things that we both enjoy. We can do XYZ, but like we're still, you know, we're not gonna ever hang out outside of
Yes.
this 1 hour once a
Yeah.
week, right? Like,
Exactly.
um, yeah. Um, but yeah, so I mean, most of these modalities were like being developed in like the 60s and 70s, like existentialism, existential therapy, I should say, mindfulness based cognitive, acceptance and commitment, dialectical, person centered. Go to Carl Rogers. I love
I
me
do love
some
Carl
Carl Rogers.
Rogers.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like,
I think, what was the one that just came up? Um Oh, I was just talking about this with feminist therapy. I forgot that
mm-hmm,
I had also done, like, something, I think it was a project like a million years ago, like talking about how like feminist therapy came to be because so many of these like original modalities were like old white men created. So you have to like, that's also why
Yeah.
therapists have to be creative and, switch it up for clients that aren't old white men.
Yeah, surprise everyone. Everything
It's
in
created
the
by
psych
old white
yeah.
men.
E- Everything has been created and normed on white, rich, cis men. And so yeah, coming up with which is like one of the cool things I will say about art therapy is it was created by women.
Let's go. Absolutely.
Margaret Nuremberg,
Absolutely.
Judith Rubin. Um love those girlies. But like
That's your next tattoo.
yeah,
It's just their portraits.
just it says love those girlies
Love those
underneath it.
girlies. Yeah.
But yeah, like these different therapies, like okay, but like person centered therapy is like, and we're throwing around words like okay, yeah, that's one type of therapy,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it's not necessarily just therapy,
Mhm.
you know, and
It's an
like
approach.
it's an approach to therapy. It's how you structure the session. It's how you approach treatment, and how you approach addressing the symptoms, right, that the person is experiencing. Um, and, neurodiversity affirming therapy, which is a definitely a newer therapy, um, again, is it's very much like a lot of these therapies like build on to therapies that already exist, right? Like, so like there's CBT and then there's mindfulness based cognitive therapy, which is like, okay, we're using mindfulness instead of like we're using mindfulness to inform cognitive behavioral therapy,
Which then turns
basically.
into DBT a little bit, but
Yeah, and then like DBT took from that too, and then like ACT takes from some of that too, and like art therapy takes from some things as well. Like art therapy takes a lot from Jung and like psychodynamic and person centered and like um I think almost every therapy nowadays, if someone is not a client or person centered therapist, I would be surprised.
did you guys have
Almost
to
everyone is.
do, I think it was like in a textbook, but it was like a quiz or like an assessment that you had to do in grad school that would like show you what your like top modalities were?
I
This
mean,
is like
I don't know,
early.
probably
This would have been like,
because
yeah, this would have been like right at the start,
a little
essentially.
long time ago, and I've blocked a lot of that out. Because grad school was so great,
So fun.
but so fun, not at all traumatizing.
Mm-mm.
Um, but I pretty much knew, like, because we were the book that I just pulled out, we were learning about these different, like,
Mhm.
approaches, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, out of all of these, I like person-centered the best," like, immediately. Like,
Yeah, this sounds
um
the most, and I think, like, that was everybody, right? And then eventually
Mhm,
actually, I don't even think existential was one of my top ones when we did that
mm,
assessment. I did a project. I was basically assigned to do a project on existentialism because my professor was
mhm,
like, "I think you would align with this," essentially, and now I show up to session, I'm like, "Do you guys ever think about dying? Do you wanna talk about death today?" I do. Um but it's something like that that, like, you can build off of, right? You can be person-centered,
yeah.
but then you can also find, like, "Oh, I wanna be a DBT therapist. I wanna be somatic."
Mhm. Which, like and, like, all the ones that we've mentioned, which the ones that I wrote down are the ones that we comment like myself and Mackenzie and like honestly other people at our practice
Yeah.
commonly use. Shout out Blue Sky Mind
Mhm.
and Wellness. We have officially rebranded. If you are looking, excuse me, for therapy in the Colorado, well, the state of Colorado,
State
because
of
we can serve
Colorado.
anybody in Colorado.
Mhm.
Um, Check out Blue Sky Mind and Wellness. It is in our link tree on our Instagram and TikTok. Um, we are we have openings.
We have openings. If you need help processing the horrors, we can do that.
We yes, we can help you. Um, we take all pretty much like every insurance out there.
Yeah, including
Yep,
Medicaid.
yep.
Yep.
Medicaid, Medicare.
They
Uh,
tried to shut us down. Well, Medicaid tried to shut it down, but we're still gonna We're still
We're
accepting
still
it.
gonna do
We're
it.
still
We're
gonna
still
do it.
accepting Medicaid. Yes, everybody who's on Medicaid, we're still accepting Medicaid. A lot of people stopped doing that because Medicaid isn't reimbursing well. That's okay. We're gonna still accept Medicaid
We'll
because
help
we wanna
you.
help you.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, but yeah, the ones that I wrote down are mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, let's see, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, art therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, which I think you do more than I do, but that's where I get a lot of like the core values stuff from.
Yep.
Um,
A lot of
yep, deal,
the radical acceptance, radical self-compassion.
yep. Um, dialectical behavioral therapy, which I do a lot of like boundary work and like communication stuff with that. Um, existential therapy, finding the meaning in the suffering, neurodiversity affirming therapy, which is literally just like you have you're neurodiverse, you're under the umbrella of
Umbrella.
neurodivergent. We're going to affirm this experience and help you like figure out how best to live your life and stimming's okay. Here's how you can stim more. Here's things for executive, all the stuff. And
Mhm.
then last but not least, person slash client centered therapy, which like I said, that's like at the basis of everything that I do.
Everything. Yeah.
Um, because with person slash client centered therapy, it is the whole like point of it is the therapeutic relationship.
Mhm. Yep. And that's well, even going back to, like, some of those initial questions that you asked about, like, is
Hmm.
therapy validation? Is it venting? Therapy is not advice either. Like, we're not gonna directly tell you, like, "This is what you should do." It's the
Yeah, that's my favorite. When my
person-centered.
clients are like, "What should I
"What should I
do?" And I'm
do?"
like, "Do
Yes.
you want to tell me? Do you want me to tell you what you should do, or because I don't want to do?"
Yeah. I'm like, I
Yeah.
you know what? I'm 34 and I am, like, I'm coasting through it. I've barely figured it out. Don't ask me to, like, direct you.
I'm always like, "Here's all your options. You may choose from them."
Yeah,
Um,
maybe
yeah,
person-centered is choose your own adventure, right? Let's collaborate on some
yeah.
ideas and then we go from there.
Yeah. Here's all the things you could choose to do in this instance. Okay, but and then they're like, "But which one should I do?" I'm like, "That's a you choice, my friend." And then they hate that, but they
Yeah,
also love me. But
exactly.
I'm just like, and then like anytime they're like, "Please just tell me what to do." I'm like, "Okay, but you can't hold me liable for
They that too,
this."
right?
Like if
Yeah.
it doesn't go well, don't be coming to me and being like, because that's why we don't give advice. Because if we gave advice and like it
Bad
doesn't
things
go well, then
happen.
you're gonna come back to your therapist and be like, "You told me to do this thing and bad things happen." And I'm like,
Mhm.
I didn't know." Um,
Yeah. I'm not
so
there.
I
I
try
can't,
not.
like
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
not there. Yeah, I don't know these people.
Yeah,
I just know them through the way that you tell me. Um,
exactly. I
yeah.
do love when I
So
get a photo though, by the way. If somebody's like, "Oh, this is what so and so looks like." I'm like, "Yeah." I love a visual.
yeah, yeah. Now I know exactly who we're talking about. So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not advice. It's not advice as in we tell you what to do. It's advice as in we look at all of the different potential outcomes and options and help you choose which one you would like to do. And then
And
it's
build
not
the skills.
validation. Yeah, and build the skills. And it's not validation all the time. It's validating experiences, but also knowing when to challenge responses to those experiences. Um, and it's not always gossiping and venting. It's sharing context of situations and then going into, okay, now let's process this
Mhm.
thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But we
yeah,
love the tea. I think the be all end all is that if you walk into a therapy session and you say to your therapist, "Boy, do I have tea for you today. It's piping hot." We're gonna be amped. We're
we're gonna be
excited.
so excited. Yeah, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, yes, tell me, tell me. Which is like one of the fun things. And then you don't get to tell anybody really about the tea. You
We get
do
to hold
kind of. You
on
get to
to it.
tell. Yeah. Well, I don't know. We tell like each other, like, co-work colleagues,
Yes.
coworkers, supervision stuff. And as long as we're not giving away any identifiers, we
Yes.
can share with other people. But yeah, generally we get to just sit on that juicy, juicy tea and not tell
Mhm.
anybody anything.
Yep.
And we're like, take it. It was
Yeah.
a good story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, right? I think we've made that joke before too of like if there was a
Hmm.
therapist podcast that was just like all about like spilling the tea, number 1, arrested, like, you're done. But also, like, it would just be the longest podcast ever, being able to,
Like
like,
I said,
hear.
as long as you never give identifiers, no names, no
Right.
ages, no,
Mhm.
race or sex, no one would know.
Exactly.
Except for the person who told you that, and you're like, "Dude."
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Although if I heard one of my therapists, ever, like, telling a story about me, I'd be like, "Go ahead, girl. I know this was a good one. Go ahead."
Yeah, I know this was great. Go ahead. Um, so yeah, I don't know if we actually answered the question of what is therapy.
We you know, we dipped in and out, I think. This is
It's
our
yeah,
version of therapy.
kind of. Yeah, a lot of what you see right now is a lot of what
Yeah.
our clients get.
Yep.
Um, but therapy is like this, yeah, it's not just sitting down in a room and staring at each other and talking.
Mhm.
That's the other thing. Like, it's not just a lot of people I think are like, I don't want to do therapy because I don't want to just sit there and stare at each other and talk. And it's like, well, who said that's what we have to do?
One that we could add to the list is animal assisted therapy. That is why
Yes.
Greta comes to therapy with me so that you can
Greta. Yeah.
she'll one of these
Stare at
episodes.
her and talk to her.
Exactly, exactly. I
Yeah.
th I think I've had, like, somebody, like, quite literally either, like, cuddle her on the couch or, like, lay on the floor with her during therapy, and I'm like, "That's all you. Whatever you wanna do."
Yeah. Yep. That's why I like art therapy or just like any like expressive therapies. Or play therapy. Gosh, I do love play therapy. Though I
Oh,
don't do play therapy like true play therapy, where,
not
you're
yeah.
in the room and there's toys everywhere and it's very client directed and you're just like reflecting back what you see and what they say. I do play therapy like, let's play some games.
Yep, yeah. Video game
Yeah.
therapy. That's
Video
another
game
good one.
therapy, board game therapy,
Mhm.
card game therapy.
Card game therapy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's also my type of therapy because then I can work on my competitiveness.
But see, I think, or I have a whole thing about why it's important to be competitive because if you just let your client win, you're not actually doing anything for them.
That's true, but
Yeah.
I have to win Uno, otherwise everything will crumble around me.
It is really hard to be like, "Oh no, I've lost." Okay,
Yeah, that's
let's
great.
play again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, I got destroyed by a 12-year-old. That's so great for my
Yep.
ego.
Constantly, all the time. Um, every Friday, once a
Every
week, do I get just destroyed online by a 12-year-old, playing board games.
Oh my god. What ones are you playing? What board games?
Oh gosh, we have like a rotation. We play Trench, which is, how do I describe? It's kind of like chess in a way, but there's like, it's like a board and it has like a line through the middle and that's the trench. And so if you go into the trench,
Uh,
you can go out of the trench and attack, but nobody can attack you in the trench unless they're on your side of the line. Anyways, um yeah. Uh I won that one yesterday. Barely by like
Barely.
2 points. Um and But usually, yeah, we're playing either trench. Trench has been a big one. Chess. We haven't played chess in a while, or checkers. That led to a big old meltdown. Checkers. But we worked through it as
Yeah,
we are to do because it is therapy.
exactly.
Um, chess, checkers, trench, exploding kittens.
I was just gonna say, like, that's maybe one of the worst meltdowns I've ever seen. Not it wasn't my meltdown, obviously.
I'm just now maybe winning that game once every like 5 games that we play.
Yeah.
And it's been,
I the
like, over
rules, I
a
like
while.
it took
Yeah,
me forever.
it took me forever to figure out the strategy of, like, how to play that game. Um, and now it's, like, it really is just down to, like, the luck of the cards that
Yeah.
you draw and, like, knowing how many of each card is in the deck because depending on how many people are playing depends on how many cards are in the deck.
Mhm. That's true.
Yeah.
It's very,
Um,
it would be and this is throwing it back to, like, our upbringing, but, like, Old Maid, if you remember playing like that card game, that's kind of what it reminded me of, but, like, on steroids, essentially.
Yeah, it's really tough. And, like, one time I looked at the stats, and he had won, like, out of all the games we played, I think he'd won 31 times, and I had won, like, 7.
No way. Oh
Exploding
my
kitten.
it's,
So
like
oh my god,
it's that one, and then
just
that
getting
company
trounced.
yeah, just getting demolished. It was that
Yeah.
one, and there's a unicorn one now. I think it's the same
Yeah.
creator. But yeah, that one was also hard to figure out, and I was like, "You know what? We're gonna play, I say Guess Who, but I bought the off-brand version for The Office, and it was called Who Is It?
Who is it? Yes. We play Who Is It
Who is
in
it?
that in the office. Who is it?
Yeah.
Exploding Kittens, Trench, those have been 2 big ones. Ludo, which is basically just, Trouble.
Luna? Luda?
Ludo. For some reason on the
Ludo.
board game arena, it's called Ludo, but it's Trouble where you roll the dice and you have your people and you have to take them out and get them into home.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yes. Oh,
yeah.
you said Trouble. I
Um,
was thinking Sorry, which is
it's not
like
Sorry,
eh
it's Trouble.
okay. It's similar to
Yeah.
Sorry, now that I
Uh,
think about it.
Battleships sometimes. Battleships is fun.
Oh, that's a good one.
What else do we play? I'd have to look at, the list. Yahtzee, we'll play Yahtzee sometimes.
Yep.
Um,
We have an I
and yeah, it's
Spy
just a
one in the
lot of
office.
yeah.
That one was cool. You have to, like that one's kinda
We
hard.
do have Yahtzee in the office.
Do we? We have that one too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I asked Jenny to buy it.
Nice.
We have Yahtzee.
I left all of
We
them
have
at the old office, by the way.
yeah. Um, we got, another one of my favorites that we do that's not on Board Game Arena, so me and him don't play it because I see him online, but we used to play it when I'd be in the office is, Blokus.
Oh,
We have yeah, we have two-player Blokus at the office, and it's good.
that
Strategy games.
wonder if we
But
could
and
get a
it's fun.
pool table. That could be fun.
It's yeah, that'd be fun. Put it in the common area in that tiny, tiny office that's getting so
Exactly.
small with all the people in it now. Um,
Cramped.
but yeah, like that kind of play therapy, like playing board games, card games is so good at like teaching like frustration tolerance
Mhm.
and I shouldn't say teaching, but helping build frustration tolerance and
Emotional
like, okay,
regulation.
yeah, emotional regulation. I've lost that's not the end of the world, or like I am still learning how to play this game. I'm going to do better next. Like perseverance,
Yep. Mhm.
all really important skills that sometimes people don't have. So yeah, play some Uno, y'all,
Yeah,
and don't let the children win.
that's right.
Yeah,
They need to learn.
they need to learn. Same kid. He's always like, "Go easy on me, go easy." I'm like, "No."
No.
He doesn't ask me that anymore, because we the checkers and it ended up and he was like, "You never go easy on me." I'm like, "Buddy, if I went easy on you, like, this would not happen, and you wouldn't
Yes.
learn how to navigate this. Like, yes, this sucks right now, feeling this way, and also you need to like I'm helping you learn how to move through these emotions and not let it like suck you down or like
It can't,
become
like
so dysregulated. Yeah.
yes, it can't, like, ruin your entire day, and I guess, like, that's, like, how play therapy obviously translates into, like DBT, for example, of, like, distress tolerance and, if, "Oh, this one thing happened, how am I gonna keep it from, like" and nobody's perfect, like, clearly, I've had, like, bad things happen, and then I'm like, "Well, that's a wash on the day, like, it is what it is," but
Mhm.
that's, like, that practice that you wanna get into too of, like, learning how to I hate saying, like, take it on the chin, but essentially, like, you're recentering yourself after that of, like, "Okay, that was a loss, but it doesn't have to determine how, like, the rest of my day or my week goes."
Right? Or like doesn't even have to determine if I'm going to win the next game.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Um
I love therapy. I love doing
yeah, it's so
this.
fun. It's so fun. People are like, yeah, that's it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a great job.
I love this. They're like
Yeah,
I can't picture myself doing literally anything else.
me neither, for sure.
Yeah,
Um I thought I was going to do other things, but no, this is like it for me.
same.
And shout out to all the therapists out there
Yeah,
because this job is not for everybody, that's for sure.
and we're going through it. We're, like,
Yeah.
absolutely going through it right now. So
Yep.
Go
Yep,
to your
yep,
own
yep.
therapist. And then there's like a therapist final boss that you eventually have to
Yeah,
reach.
they're out there somewhere
Yeah,
because
the
every
therapist
therapist has a
of
therapist, and then their therapist has a therapist, and so on and so forth, and somewhere out there is, like, the
yeah.
grand therapist, the
I'm trying to, like, remember who the Bowser, I guess, the Bowser of therapists.
they have to be ancient because 'cause they're like, "Oh, I don't have it," because they have to not have a therapist, so, like
That's true. They have
yeah.
to it's like some guy on a mountain. It's like
Yeah.
like, long beard. Yeah, that's what I picture, yeah.
Yep. Yep, yep. Alrighty, well, I hope we answered, what is therapy?
Mhm, mhm.
Um, go ahead and comment in the comments if, yes, we answered the question or not, and if we didn't, and if you have questions, more questions about what is therapy, please let us know.
Yeah.
Um, because
Or if you have a
yeah,
story about, like, if you
yes.
love your therapist, if you had, like, a therapist that was not so great, we'd love to hear. Maybe
Mhm.
even we
Yeah.
could talk about those experiences too.
Yeah, what makes someone a good therapist and a bad therapist? Um, yep, and what is therapy? It is a lot.
Yeah,
It is not just sitting and talking and looking at each other.
yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's the end of this episode. We will see you all in the next episode, which will be episode 4, part
Part 3.
3 of What is Mental Health, addressing the rumors. And we will talk more about diagnosis, the
Yeah,
good, the bad, and the
this'll
ugly.
be a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Alrighty. I've been Christine Thorpe.
And I'm Mackenzie Clough.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.